Welcome to Coffee with the Mayor. I'm Deb Trelli, and we are broadcasting live from the top of Tampa Bay in beautiful downtown Oldsmar. With our host, Oldsmar Mayor Eric Seidel.
We had to turn off our phones, ladies and gentlemen. That was us in the background.
These segments are featured each Wednesday morning following an Oldsmar City Council meeting for the community. Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning. How are you?
Awesome. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. So before we begin, we encourage our viewing audience to submit any questions they may have during our segment by commenting on our Facebook live feed, and we will do our very best to get those answered. And just in case we don't, you can always email Mayor Seidel at eseidel@myoldsmar.com regarding anything we discussed today. So Coffee with the Mayor is to keep our residents, businesses, and community stakeholders informed on highlights from last night's council meeting. Now let's start with Citizens Open Forum.
Citizens Open Forum. Yeah, we had citizens who were speaking about the proposed density increase along Tampa Road in the town center. And so it wasn't as many as we've had in the past collectively. We'll talk about it a little bit more later on in the agenda, but there were people who spoke. You had a couple of people who expressed their concerns about potentially overbuilding there and their concerns about traffic, specifically with a large number of apartments being there mixed in. And then you have quite a few people speaking in favor of it. And I think the takeaway from that was pretty much, hey, we've been talking about it for a long time. Yeah. We need to get it done. So, I mean, not to suggest it was a repeat, but it was probably, an affirmation of kind of where the discussion's at.
Sure.
At this point, Dave Wallace got up, who is, most people know Dave. Mm-hmm. He's, Mr. Oldsmar Cares, if you will. But he's also a long-time architect who's done huge projects all over the world. And, his whole point to it is, hey, listen, if we're going to have a successful downtown with these businesses, you've got to have more people there or they just won't work. So that's in a nutshell. I mean, it was very polite with everybody, as you expect in Oldsmar. But there was a mix of some letters that were read in, a couple supporting, one speaking against. And, the discussion continues on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was good.
Oh, good. So Vice Mayor Mapp presented the November 2021 Council Manager Award last night. That was a tearjerker. So who was this award presented to?
It was presented to Marjorie Knapp, who is the Vice Mayor's grandmother, and she recently passed away. And it was a very touching presentation. The Knapp family has been in Oldsmar for a very long time, and it was very fitting that he recognized her and do so last night.
Yeah.
She was a school teacher here for many, many years. And so she's taught a lot of the people who are leaders in the community.
Yeah.
And she's made a real impact. And so it was really touching, and she's touched a lot of young lives. So I encourage anybody who has the time, make the time, because it was a special presentation. Go watch it.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah. He did a good job.
No.
We were texting earlier in the day about whether he'd get through it or not. But he did. He might have shed a few tears at the end, but
I think everybody did. So a request was presented under the Community Redevelopment Agency for the city attorney to prepare an ordinance. Two ordinances. Amending the comprehensive plan and also the town center development code. So was this approved, and then what did that include?
It was approved, okay. and there are some, and I'd encourage anybody to go watch it and the discussion that happened around it. But essentially, it's the driver behind it is to say, not whether you're for or against the density at this point. It's just to say, let's put it on the agenda and have a public hearing about it. As everybody knows, or most people know, we had public hearing. We went back and looked at something when we were preparing our application for Forward Pinellas, because that's the next step in the process after hearing. And we identified that when we advertised the planning board meeting, there was a mistake made where instead of saying public hearing, it said public meeting. Does one word make a difference? Well, apparently it does. So we took the conservative approach and said, no, listen, we want to do everything, by the letter. So we went back and of course, this time around, I think that the planning board had a lot more information and a lot more time to digest that information. Mm-hmm. And unlike last time, this time they supported it 6-1 in favor. And so last night was about the density bonus, and so there was some other language that supports that as part of amending the comprehensive plan.
Yeah.
But the big picture part of it is that providing for a density bonus, and this is very specific, it's a density bonus for vertically integrated transit-supported mixed-use development.
That's a mouthful.
So it's a mouthful.
Yeah.
And so essentially what it's saying is that we will allow you more living units per acre, and I think the current amount is 30. The county allows 90. We're proposing something in the middle of 65. And so, but it's very specific. You can only have, it's not like you can just, if it was to pass and become a new ordinance, a new code for us, you can just go do it. You can have that many units. No, has to be mixed use, which means it has to have retail on the bottom. It also has to go through all of the different studies that are required for any of our projects. It also requires a development agreement with the city, which is very specific. And so these are the things that will be part of the discussion when we have the public hearing. And so that really kind of covers it in detail. The next item on the agenda was also relevant to that. It had to do with if this was to pass in a public hearing, then we have to make changes to the architectural and design pattern book and a few other things. But the next step, it did pass 4-1. Councilmember Saraki voted against it. But once again, this is to give the citizens an opportunity to speak.
Sure.
It wasn't whether you're in favor or not. That discussion will happen at the November 16th meeting. And so we encourage citizens to come out. It's going to be a public hearing, and we'll get everybody's view on it, and we'll continue on that process and see where it takes us next. If it passes, the way this works is it has to pass 2 public hearings. And in between, because it's a change to the county's comprehensive plan, what happens is after our first hearing, let's say that it did pass, then it goes to the county, it goes to Ford Pinellas, who is really their planning board. It has to pass there. Then it goes on to, first it goes to their technical committee, then it goes to the full board. It has to pass each step. Then it goes to the county's board of county commissioners. Then ultimately it'll go to the state, and then we have our final public hearing.
Okay.
And so it's very early in the process. And remember, this is to give us a tool to work with. It doesn't ensure that. And I know that there's a proposal out there from Woodfield, but we don't have we have a concept plan, not a full proposal. And so we expect that we'll have one, and we'll have discussion on that. I think it's very important that we have a lot of discussion on it when it comes. We'll know all the details. You can't really share details of something that you don't know at this point.
Yeah.
It's a mistake to speculate. So more to come. November 16th will be the date.
Okay.
And so come on out to the council meeting. We're going to we'll bring coffee and
donuts,
whatever it takes. But listen, everybody's going to get a chance to speak. There's when you do this sometimes, and I don't think it's as bad as it was. There's some misinformation, and the city continues to work hard to keep the information accurate. So instead of relying on some of the social media sites that people are passionate about it, but go to downtown-oldsmar.com. And it will have the factual information. Yeah. The information on, somebody read a letter last night. We had a letter read in that was sent in, and they were talking that it was 500-600 units was being proposed from the Woodfield proposal, which is not. It's just over 300. So, get more factual information as it becomes more, as we progress. So,
and I believe they still have the questions and answers also. If people want to submit anything, that's still active on the site as well.
Yeah, that's an excellent point, because what we do is we take that information, and so when you go and you want to see frequently asked questions, it's the information or the questions that have already been asked by citizens. And so we answer those questions. Yeah. So the list gets longer and longer, which is good, because it makes you think about some things, make sure you're not missing stuff, because we still have I don't know. There's like 20 steps to go or something. It's a long process, but November 16th is the date. Be there.
All right.
All right.
So there were quite a few proclamations last night. The first one was presented for Arbor Day. Who was the proclamation presented to?
I had Councilmember Siraki present it. As you know, it's a mayor's proclamation, and I have each of the council members participate in doing the presentation versus doing them all myself.
Share the love.
Share the love. Get them involved. But it was directed to it was presented to Chip Potts, who's our Director of Leisure Services, and it's really a day where we're proclaiming November 11th as Arbor Day in Oldsmar, and we encourage all of our citizens to get involved and support efforts to protect the trees and the woodlands. You know, Oldsmar being almost 40% park, trails, and recreation like that. It's important that we rally around that, so we urge all of our citizens to go plant some trees.
I'm throwing this at you, but as council, normally it's, we have Veterans Memorial Day, Veterans
Day, right, which is on the 11th.
And normally you guys plant a tree there.
It's not uncommon for us to do that. They haven't shared with me
if that's happening.
That's happening.
Okay, got it.
But you heard it here first. If it does, we'll be out there planting a tree.
Just block some time afterwards.
We'll just block some time out.
So another proclamation was for Drive Electric Tampa Bay. Who was that proclamation presented to?
It was presented by Vice Mayor Knapp.
Shocker.
It wasn't really his turn, and I skipped the order.
Oh.
Because for those of you who know Vice Mayor Knapp, he has a Tesla.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I didn't know this until last night, but he said, we've been doing these for a while, right? And so he said the first time he drove a Tesla was out at the event.
Oh, wow.
So I thought that was pretty cool. It was presented to Ashley Painter, who's our sustainability coordinator. And it's a proclamation for November 13th as Drive Electric Tampa Bay Day in Oldsmar. And so we encourage our residents to come on out and support the goals of this project. We'll be set up along State Street out in front of City Hall from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And we'll be featuring sustainable vendors and activities.
Oh, yeah. Lots of family
things.
And
then, and we're in partnership with this, by the way, with the cities of Dunedin, Safety Harbor, and Tarpon Springs. So
that's cool they did that.
Yeah, it's a really kind of North County minus Clearwater. But is Clearwater North County?
No, not really. I mean, we don't count.
Frank, I think you're North County.
Sorry, Frank.
That's Mayor Frank. Right? So, but come on out because there's some ride and drive opportunities with Tesla and Volvo, and I think that they have a few more that are going to be out there. So it should be a good event, a lot of fun.
And it's free. Woohoo. City manager. So he presented a request to approve an advertising for an RFQ for professional services for construction, engineering, and inspection for phase 1 and 2 of the Douglas Road Project. Was this approved?
It was approved, and I'm sure, we've talked about it quite a bit, but it's a big process that we're going through. And so along Douglas Road, which is an extremely important road for the industrial area, which is our largest base of employers back there, we've talked about it, how the road's always been a problem. Well, it was approved, and what this ultimately will do, it'll improve the drainage along both sides, which when you meet with those businesses out there, and I've been out there a bunch with the chamber meeting with different business owners, and that is always a topic of discussion, but it widens the roadway for a continuous turn lane down the center. So when you've got the semis who are trying to turn in, and right now it's always a mess, it'll have a real impact. And, of course, we're adding sidewalks.
Lovely.
Which
needed.
Will be nice. Very needed. So, yes, it moved along, and it was unanimous.
Yeah, both you and I worked on Douglas, and oh, my God,
right.
Just to get the mail, it was like,
It was a mess. It was a mess out there.
Taking your life at hand.
I ran a public
go
company
up there and
out
get
there
it.
for 10 years.
Yeah.
And, it was crazy. So it passed.
Lovely. Well, any other key items? Or
Maybe a couple thank yous and some takeaways. Veterans Day, you mentioned it earlier. It's going to be next Thursday. And as our folks might know, it's always November 11th at 11 in the 11th month.
11/11.
And that has to do with World War II. And so it's going to be out there, and it's going to be Councilmember Gannon pointed this out last night. It was a very good point. It's going to be special. It's always special, but this is the first time it's going to be in person really since the pandemic. So please make it out there. It'll be a wonderful event. And I just wanted to give props to our staff for the Haunted Boo, the drive-through.
Oh, I heard it was
the drive-boo. I think they had over 400 vehicles and like 1,000 people or something. It was pretty crazy. I was over there at around, I don't know, about 8 o'clock, and the cars were backed all the way up on Curlew from the entrance to the park past Shaker and Peel.
Jeepers.
So it was busy, and they did a great job. And, of course, next Friday on the 12th is the second Friday, again, right here downtown. I know people are really enjoying that. The Chamber puts that on. So encourage folks to come out. And then celebrate Oldsmar coming November 19th through the 21st at Orioles Park. And this year, first, it's going to be actually hosted by the Chamber. The city's still a partner in it, and a lot of other folks are partners in it.
Yeah.
But put it on your calendar. The weather should be great and a lot of fun.
And parade, too.
And the parade. How could
great way for the community to get out there and free way to participate.
Everybody loves the parade.
Oh, heck yeah. And fireworks Saturday night.
Fireworks Saturday night, which is sponsored by the city. So that'll be good. That'll be fun.
Nice. Let's see.
Any questions?
I'm not seeing any, but I would like to congratulate you and your lovely wife, Amber, for receiving the Chairman's Award from Oldsmar Cares.
Well, thank you.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was a surprise, and so we were humbled by it. Of course, I mean the people over at Oldsmar Cares, they do so many wonderful things for the community, and there's a lot of people who really make that work. Michelle Baldwin, who's their chair now, and she presented it to us for last year.
Yeah.
And I really think that has a lot to do with, Amber volunteers there, but I think a lot of it has to do with the city's response during the pandemic and that partnership that went into 2021 and so. But thank you for mentioning it. It was very nice. But guess what? Do we have a question?
No, Peggy just commented, awesome award. Thanks, Peggy.
Thank you, Peggy. Well, you know what? I just realized it's about that time.
Uh-oh, I know what that means.
And so I am running out of coffee.
Uh-oh.
I can't lie, it's Diet Coke this morning. I've been up really early. It's like my third or fourth cup. Hey, everybody, thank you for listening. I want to thank Mark and Deb, as always, Mark behind the scenes. Go out and have a great day. And if you have any more questions, just go ahead and email it to me. Thank you.